Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
I'm Ann Emanuel. Thank you for joining us. More than 30 employees in 2 Elmira Savings Bank branches will soon be out of a job, according to a New York Department of Labor notice. The loss in jobs comes as the Elmira Savings Bank merges with the Community Bank of East Syracuse. 33 people in total are expected to be laid off by July. According to the Department of Labor, layoffs will begin on May 13th. Police were called out to Horseheads early Sunday morning after reports of a pedestrian being hit by a car. The incident happened near Miller Street around 3 a.m. Sunday. The identity and status of the pedestrian remains unknown at this time. The investigation into the accident is ongoing. Some cities are considering bringing back mask mandates as the BA2 subvariant continues to spread. Today, the New York Times reporting that Philadelphia, Pennsylvania will be the first city to bring back a mask mandate next week. Public health officials say the spike is not expected to rise to the same level of previous surges. Jonathan Sari reports.
The BA2 Omicron subvariant driving a slight uptick in COVID infections across the country. According to the CDC, we're averaging more than 31,000 new cases per day, up 3% from 2 weeks ago. Some areas are seeing sharper increases, including New York City and Washington, D.C., where more positive tests rolled in over the weekend on Capitol Hill.
We thought Omicron was by far the most transmissible variant. So anytime this BA2 is going to go up, you are going to see a lot of people infected.
The numbers still remain far below the winter surge, with hospitalizations and deaths at pandemic lows. But the increase in cases is still prompting cities such as Philadelphia to consider reinstating indoor mask mandates. Some doctors say while an uptick is expected, it is not yet cause for alarm.
When you have a highly transmissible virus like the BA2, and you have pulling back on mitigation methods, at the same time there's waning immunity, we're going to see an uptick.
Dr. Anthony Fauci says people will need to make individual assessments of how much risk they're willing to take, with officials hoping vaccinations and natural immunity will prevent more hospitalizations and deaths.
We're going to have different times of risk and surge, and we should each take responsibility for how we maintain our vaccination status, how we decide to live our life.
The CDC says a third booster shot may be needed in the fall when respiratory viruses are at their worst. In Atlanta, Jonathan Sari, Fox News.
Go, go. I don't know what it is, but what is it?
Panic breaks out in New York City's Times Square after a manhole explodes and sends people running. The scary moment happening last night around 7. Cell phone video captures men, women, and children sprinting away from the area around 7th Avenue. Many asking one another what was happening and where they should go. Con Edison later confirmed a manhole in the area exploded due to a cable failure. This led to firefighters closing off the area to deal with 3 manhole fires. Kmart will be left with just 3 locations when its New Jersey store closes later this week. The former retail giant once boasted over 2,000 brick-and-mortar operations, but has struggled to stay afloat against companies like Walmart, Target, and Amazon. The 2 remaining locations are in Long Island and Miami.
It's just sad. This used to be a real part of America, Americana, and it's gone away. I find it sad. People that are losing their jobs, I find it sad.
There are only a handful of these stores left, and I suspect within months the whole enterprise will disappear completely.
The company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection in 2002 and again in 2018. A high-profile defamation case in Virginia today between Johnny Depp and his ex-wife, actress Amber Heard. Depp is suing for tens of millions of dollars, but as legal experts explain, it'll be tough to prove. Lauren Blanchard is in Fairfax, Virginia.
Jury selection begins Monday in the case between actor Johnny Depp and his ex-wife, actress Amber Heard. Depp is suing for defamation after Heard wrote an op-ed in 2018 about being the survivor of domestic abuse following the couple's messy divorce. Though the piece did not mention Depp's name, his legal team says he lost work and the damage to his reputation was swift and severe. Depp is suing for $50 million.
There's really bad stuff being said about him, and clearly economically he's been impacted.
Heard countersued for $20 million in 2020, alleging Depp's legal team tried to defame her by calling her claims a hoax. The judge will look at both suits. This is the second time Depp has filed against Heard. He was previously unsuccessful in London. This trial taking place in Fairfax, Virginia. It will be televised. Depp and Heard are expected to testify, including other celebrities who were close to the two. Depp's lawyers accuse Heard of trying to boost her career during the Me Too movement. Depp claims it was he that was the victim.
It's really going to come down to a lot of he said, she said testimony. We can expect them both to testify and both to claim that the other was abusive.
Defamation suits are hard to prove. This case is one of the highest profile ones to come out of the Me Too movement. Opening arguments will likely begin Tuesday. The trial could last for 6 weeks. In Fairfax, Virginia, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
Todd Nelson is in next with our workweek forecast. Plus, the future of driverless trucks is at a crossroads with business owners. Stay with us.
Here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
Well, good evening. A new week means a new weather pattern or track that is going to stay fairly active as April is just living up to its names of April showers, as we'll keep rain showers through even early tomorrow morning for the first round, and then more will come midweek. But there is the chance to bring in some quick sunshine for your Tuesday and bring back those perfect 60s like we saw today, and even see some warming temperatures through still that Wednesday forecast. But some of that warmth is going to be paired with some instability and isolated thunders of mention. But right now the severe risk does remain low when it comes to thunderstorms on your Wednesday as well as Thursday. Overall pattern though, as it stays active, does bring those showers overnight. About 1/10 of an inch up to about 1/4 of an inch is looking likely with this system as it pushes through the area. Even Binghamton staying closer to that 1/10 of an inch, with Elmira closer to that 1/4 of an inch. When we look at the forecast though, it does show that showers still around for your morning commute, so have the umbrella out the door, but that pull is going to take those showers to the east as we step into the mid-morning, and then you will see plenty of sunshine as you head into the afternoon. Sunshine should allow those temperatures again to warm rapidly, so you're having a beautiful day before it's back to the rainy weather as we head into Wednesday morning, where again some afternoon sunshine might break through some of those clouds, cause for some instability and maybe some thunder mentions on Wednesday, as well as an active week means Thursday as well. Now risk again, as mentioned, is remaining low, but the Storm Prediction Center does have that general risk, so meaning that a rumble of thunder can't be ruled out, maybe some smaller hail. This is still though 3 days out, so we have some time to track this, give you those preparedness time frame. Now through Wednesday as well, where though we're talking about still those warming temperatures, as we've been talking about the 60s on the board. Tuesday can bring us to almost the mid to upper 60s, but Wednesday will take it even a step farther than that. So the average for this time of the year, 57. So sitting at 66 for your Tuesday, looking at just the cherry on top, but it gets even warmer than that. 74 for your Wednesday with that average of 57. Not record breaking. The record for Wednesday is about 8 into the mid 80s. So we are far off from that, but definitely going to be more of that summertime warmth that isn't going to last. You'll want to enjoy it as we look at the outlook that does run from the Easter holiday through next week. Cooler than average conditions looking almost likely for portions of the Great Lakes into the Northeast. So that means trending those temperatures anywhere from 5 to 20 degrees below average, as we saw average is about 57 this time of the year. So could be back into those 40s, and we'll see that temperatures though still build even to the 70s through Thursday with those chances for showers and isolated thunderstorms. But here's where those temperatures start to downward trend. But you'll also see that even with the temperatures downward trending, you see that we stay under an active weather pattern. So it's going to be a week that you want to make sure to have those rain boots and that umbrella on hand at all times.
Elon Musk making headlines again. Delta suspends flights to Shanghai, and sellers on Etsy are sounding off. Cheryl Casone has these stories and more in today's Business Briefs.
Elon Musk declining to join Twitter's board of directors. Musk criticized Twitter all weekend, even posting a poll to turn Twitter's San Francisco headquarters into a homeless shelter because, quote, no one shows up anyway. And he asked his followers if they thought Twitter was dying. Well, the company's chief executive tweeting, quote, I believe this is for the best. We have and will always value input from our shareholders, whether they are on the board or not. Musk has purchased more than 9% of Twitter. Well, Delta Airlines announcing it will suspend all flights from the United States to Shanghai through the end of April due to COVID restrictions in China. The city in near total lockdown as the country faces a new wave of cases. Thousands of Etsy sellers are boycotting the platform over high transaction fees. They accuse Etsy of, quote, pandemic profiteering after the online shopping and lifestyle site increased fees by 30%. The fee increase set to begin today. Well, Apple says it's now making its top-selling iPhone 13 in India. It's been working to reduce its reliance on China. The phones are still being produced by Foxconn. And there's a sign of international travel returning. London's Heathrow Airport says passenger numbers in March are the highest since the start of the pandemic. The bump was helped by leisure travel during weekends and school vacations.
Have a tax issue and need the IRS? Well, your speed dial may not help you get a timely answer. The IRS says record numbers of calls are coming in on tax issues. And Commissioner Chuck Rettig says it's currently answering only about 20% of calls. Rettig says the IRS also continues to work through a massive stockpile of back tax returns. Rettig says the IRS hopes to improve answering calls in fiscal 2022, which would be at about a 70% rate. Last year, 145 million calls came during peak tax season. While the country is focused on possible Russian cyber attacks, a report says email scams are more costly to the economy. The FBI says ongoing business email compromises, or BECs, are more costly to the U.S. economy than even ransomware attacks and cost billions, while government agencies try to keep up. BECs are scams where criminals hack email accounts and get victims to send money where it shouldn't go. BEC scams losses totaled $2.4 billion in 2021. That's up a third from 2020 and 10 times more than 7 years ago. Even though self-driving trucks are gaining momentum, they aren't taking over the roadway just yet. Chris DeMio has more on why the commercial usage of autonomous vehicles are hitting some roadblocks and when we may ultimately see more of them on the highways.
The nation continues experiencing a record shortage of roughly 80,000 truck drivers, something autonomous vehicle companies hoped would spark demand for their driverless technology. But the process of getting self-driving trucks to go mainstream is proving to be a long and winding road.
Autonomous driving started.
While autonomous vehicle startups like TuSimple, Aurora, Waymo, and others say their driverless technology has already undergone extensive testing, it's still being perfected. Adding many delivery companies that could benefit from their services aren't jumping at the opportunity to ink permanent contracts with them just yet. Currently keeping self-driving trucks from being used on a widespread commercial basis.
Who do you partner with? And that comes down to technology. Who has the best technology and who has the clearest path to commercialization.
Heads at logistics company DHL Supply Chain note the abundance of competitors and are closely monitoring which company can help them get the most bang for their buck. But ultimately, they believe self-driving trucks will give them a competitive edge in the future.
We could run a truck continuously from one major city to another and reduce transit times, move product faster.
Even though the relationship between driverless truck companies and their potential clients are rolling out slowly, researchers at marketing company PitchBook Data project the worldwide driverless truck industry's market value will go from $530 million in 2023 to close to $167 billion by 2035.
According to the Department of Housing and Urban Development's recent annual homeless assessment, more than 326,000 people experienced what the report calls sheltered or temporary homelessness on a single night back in 2021. And while homelessness can be difficult to document accurately, advocates say the public health crisis knows no age limit. Sal Giangrasso has a look at how the number of aging Americans living on the streets is increasing and the reasons behind the rising numbers.
The number of people over the age of 50 experiencing homelessness is on the rise. According to data from the Department of Housing and Urban Development, the number of homeless people 50 and above has gone from roughly 23% back in 2007 to close to 34% in 2017. But the Associated Press reports that's where the updated numbers end, citing how federal officials now consider older homeless Americans as any adult over the age of 25.
I'm not crazy. I'm not living in a pile of needles. I need an apartment that I can afford that will rent to me.
And while mental health disorders and drug addiction can lead to homelessness, advocates say many older adults living on the streets are more so the result of financial hardships, including job loss, divorce, and medical bills coupled with the surging housing market.
I want us to do better. People should not live on the streets.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams is coming under fire for ordering the cleanup of hundreds of homeless camps across the Big Apple. Critics call the breakdowns insensitive and cite a lack of solutions for those uprooted. Adams has promised temporary and then permanent housing, but many homeless people say the shelter systems are overcrowded and unsafe.
I was in a family shelter when I was 17 years old, man. You guys destroy people's lives.
Researchers at the University of Pennsylvania say the number of aging homeless people is only expected to get worse, revealing the results of a 2019 study which projects the number of homeless adults 65 and older will triple by 2030.
U.S. citizens can now select X as a gender marker on their passports instead of male or female. The change was announced in June by the State Department. It means travelers will not have to provide medical certification if their gender identity doesn't match their marker on their birth certificate or other documents. The Human Rights Campaign says more than 8 million transgender, non-binary, and intersex individuals could be affected by the changes. A new study says American mortality is falling, and the U.S. doesn't rate well with other countries. Researchers with the University of Colorado and Virginia Commonwealth University say U.S. data shows U.S. lifespans continue to fall from about 78.9 years in 2019 to 77 years in 2020 and 76.6 years in 2021. Major factors were the coronavirus pandemic, obesity, heart disease, and healthcare access. Long lives among white, black, and Hispanic populations fell. The U.S. also fared worse than 19 other wealthy countries. Single-family dream homes are hitting nightmare building prices due to rising construction costs. Builders across the country are struggling to keep new homes affordable during supply chain and inflation problems. The U.S. Census Bureau says home construction costs are up 17.5% from 2020 to 2021, the largest one-year jump since 1970. The Dallas Builders Association says for every $1,000 increase, 20,000 Texas families leave the market. The association wants lumber tariffs removed to ease costs.
Look at that sea creature move on land. Yo, a round of applause for Lurchin' Urchin.
We want to leave you with a smile. For the first time since the 1970s, a soapbox derby was run in San Francisco. Participants build and race their cars. And the most important rule, the cars can't have motors. Other than that, builders went all out with their designs.
It was just an excuse. This whole thing was a project, just an excuse to collaborate and go really fast, enjoy, it's such a good COVID break.
SF MoMA organized the Derby. No word on whether it will become an annual event. From our whole team, thanks for joining us. We hope you have a great rest of your day.